Paolo Coelho once wrote, "When we love, we always strive to become better than we are. When we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too." This is the Producers Lounge podcast, the best podcast online for tips and tricks on producing great film, television, and web content. Welcome back for Season 2, Episode 10, hosted and produced by GreaterAndGrander.com. On this week's episode, we're chatting with Emily Coupe, who is an Australian-born Eurasian actress turned producer who has worked consistently in both Australia and Los Angeles. She has recently been cast in feature films The New Hands, Lilith, Homebound, Dark Haven, The Locket, and Wicked Wifi Workout. Emily recently completed filming The Crossroads in Arizona, in which she played the lead, and is also co-writing and producing the music. We discuss trials of being a producer, connecting people with good screenplays, and thinking about what can instead of what is. Here now is my conversation with Emily Coupe. Where are you at in the world now?
Yeah, so I am in LA. How about you?
I'm in West Hollywood. I was kind of curious because I know you traveled to Arizona for that one film, and then you were, if I recall correctly, you were going back to Australia for something a while ago, or?
I haven't been back to Australia for a while,
Okay.
mostly because of COVID, but yes, I did go to Arizona last year, which is really fun. It's a lot of little things. I feel like this year, on its own, it's already September, and it feels like it just started the year. It's crazy. But I mean, I've done 4 commercials, which has been great. That's probably one of the coolest stats this year that's been happened. I was made it to the top 8 of a series regular, which is cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that is always really cool. That was for this show called Sweet Tooth, actually. So I just did one self-tape, but I think I made it through the top 8, which is great. Didn't get it, so that's good. Shot a lot of friends' indie projects this year, like my friend Albert. We're doing a horror short called The Package, which we're like shipping away at. I had a small part in my friend's Christian film called Inside. And I've also shot a very small part of my friend's film called, I forget what the name, I think it's called Primary. I forget what the name of the film's called. He's going to hate me. But I think it's called Primary. But anyway, my friend is Gavin Michael Booth. So we shot a little thing for that over the weekend. He's in Vancouver, so we shot it through Zoom, actually, because it was meant to be like this move interview. So yeah, just that's all that comes to mind recently. But I feel like I've done. Oh yeah, I shot this part in this film called Wicked Wi-Fi Workout, where I got like beat to near death at the start of the film, which is really fun. Yeah, I feel like even last year did a lot of small things too. No like leads or anything in feature films. Haven't had any of those. That would be awesome to get another one of those soon. And I also got cast in my friend's play, which was meant to be happening almost this coming weekend or next weekend, but we just aren't ready for the performance, so we're going to push it to January. So which is good. I'm glad. Because I realized I was having no social life because I was freaking out all the time about this play. Although I like being busy, because I think it also keeps my mind off overthinking about things. Because I think I definitely do that. So yeah. Oh, and then my friend got cast in this film called Island in the Stars, and that's shooting hopefully next year in Australia. I still think they're working on funding. That's the plan. He had a little thing released in Deadline, which was cool. So if that happened, that would be great. And it's funny because I feel like, again, I did not really audition for him for that, but all the leads and features I've had have all come from working with friends, or like, more from a producer standpoint more than just as an actor. So that's one of the main reasons I got into producing. But yeah, I mean, in terms of producing and stuff, to be honest with you, since I know we were working on something last year, Jim, I had a lot of balls kind of rolling, but then it got to a point where we kind of got to dead ends with all of them. I think that's the problem. Like I got to dead ends with like pretty much all of them. And I realized part of it was that I wasn't super passionate about any one project. Like I was like, yeah, I want to have something to act in. but it wasn't like, oh my God, this story has to be told. It's like, this will do. So it wasn't like a good mindset to have. There was one film which I really liked. It was called, I think Fight Girl or something.
Hmm.
And it was a female MMA fighter, and the writer didn't think I had enough experience to get it made, which is correct. But that was a one script where I was like, fuck, like I would love to get this made. Um, so I think if I came across a script now which really fit that, like was something I could act in, but then also was a story I was really passionate about, I would totally, put a lot behind it and try to get it made. I don't know, like, I just think it takes so much effort to get a film made,
Hmm.
and you can't really do it part-time or you can't do it casually. You have to put your heart and soul into getting it made. So, number one, I've got to only do one instead of having, like, 20 projects on the go. So I've got to choose that one, which
Hmm.
I haven't quite found that one yet. And then, yeah, probably have more free time. So,
Hmm.
anyway, that's kind of my experience with everything in the past year.
Completely understandable, and I've run into that issue too. Um, nowadays, like I have several projects that I have over the years been interested in producing, and I'm now attached to direct. And so I'm trying to push forward on those projects, and there are 9 of them right now. And yes, I admit that is way too many projects for like a single producer. Um, but of those 9, there's probably only like 1 or 2 that I'm really passionate about.
Well, then you should focus on those. I'm sorry.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
there's like what? Why do the other ones? I don't know. But, sorry, continue.
No, completely understandable because and I got this advice from someone back at film school, which is if you're going to go in for a pitch, it of course you have the one project that you're really passionate about, but you do want like 2 backups. You don't want to get into a room and say, "Oh, we're doing a kids musical about a talking donkey," and like, we already have one of those in development. And then they can ask, "Well, what else you got in the drawer?" And you say, "Well, I also have this musical about a talking hard drive." And they're like, "Perfect, that's great." But yeah, that I agree. Like going overboard with too many projects is probably going to set you up for failure. But also, it's good to have a couple of backups, just knowing like, hey, what is something else that somebody could ask for? Um, but I always thought that your approach was really smart because you're an actress. You're trying to put yourself forward and push your career forward, and sometimes you need to do that simply by taking the bull by the horns and steering it and creating your own projects. So,
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good idea. I honestly like
mhm,
it's still in my head. I keep toying with the idea of doing it like every day. And I think I come down to I didn't go to film school, like, don't know how to DP, I don't know how to do any crew position, maybe PA, like just tell people, hurry up, hurry up. Like I have no onset behind the camera experience. It's always in front of the camera. So I think it would be purely as a producer to bring the right people together.
mhm,
Um, and I think one day I will. I will fully do it more. And I was doing a lot of courses on financing and getting money in advance based upon pre-sales and doing all that kind of thing. Um, I know it's something I could do if I really put my mind to it because it's not rocket science. The number, there's a creative side of it, but it just takes time and energy to get the right funds and stuff. It's not unreachable. It's not unattainable. But yeah, it's I think my thing is because I'm kind of pursuing music and acting at once. So not only is it acting in itself, it's doing music too, and
mhm,
you know having a life and trying to find a way to do all this full time as well. Um, I think once I've got all my loose ends tied up with establishing this whole music thing that I'm doing as well,
mhm.
and I keep getting cast in my friends' indie films. I'm auditioning for film TV through my agents a lot. So I kind of feel like very proactive. I think coming back to really taking the time, because it's time to find a script which I'm really passionate about, and then to make sure it's excellent, and then just really from the bottom up, just give everything to it to get it made. That's something I could see doing in the future. And I just wish if I had a script right now that was like, oh my God, this is everything like I'm looking for, I would give that time to that now. But I haven't even found that script yet. So that's why. And also I'm like, should I start with the short first? Just to get my, feet wet. Or you could just go straight for the feature. Also, I think I'd like to work with somebody who's done it before. So yeah, just to have mentorship. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. It's not as active as what I was, but I just found myself getting into there's a few people where we just never followed up with each other. And then the projects kind of die silently. Not die. I mean, I'm sure if I know if I emailed one of them like a group chat with someone and like, hey, what's going on? And maybe they didn't reply or something, but yeah, pretty much all the stuff I was working on, I've just kind of stepped away and I just didn't keep following up because I was the one following up. Even with these two guys, we shot this proof of concept short. We all put like 150 into it. The guy edited it, and then that's it. We never did anything with it, and I'm very intentional and very proactive with what I'm doing. And it was at that moment when I was like I'm, that feeling of you don't know why you're doing something. You're just doing it because you think it's the right thing to do, but you don't actually have a plan for it. You're just kind of going through the motions. That's kind of how I felt. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I've heard that a proof of concept short's the right thing to do, but I just think it's so important to work backwards with that, to have a goal in mind or an end game. Okay, I've got the proof of concept to pitch to Netflix. Oh, cool. Well, if that is my intention, what do they require? Does it have to be 20 minutes? Is it, certain ratio, camera stuff, lenses? And so I didn't have that end goal in mind to have a framework with. So it's just a lot of gaps in my knowledge in terms of that kind of stuff. But I'm at least aware that, I need to do that research before getting it made. So yeah, there's just so much that goes into it. It's like, it gets a little overwhelming, actually. That's why it is a full-time thing. And it is hard to compete with people who that's all they're doing.
Yeah, I have so many opinions about all the topics you've outlined as far as proof of concepts and following up. Can I tell you?
Tell me what they are.
Okay, so what I've found is with the following up, same exact thing happened to me, which is, I'd set a reminder to follow up with these people and they wouldn't follow up and what have you. What I would start doing is doing pre-scheduled emails for follow-ups. And I never did it too often. I only did it once a month, because that way you get into a good cadence every 3 or 4 weeks. Just, scheduling those pre-scheduled emails to follow up based on the last correspondence you had. And in fact, that's what I did most recently with one. I did a rewrite of something for the Canadian Broadcasting Company, and just followed up. And I'm going to keep following up until we hear back on that. In addition to that, as far as proof of concepts, like what I've started doing is like all of these story worlds. I agree with you. Like deciding whether or not to do a proof of concept is hard. And do you do a short versus the full feature? What I heard from these guys, the YouTube channel Rocket Jump. They're a big like visual effects YouTube channel. They do a bunch of like goofy shorts that were like gamer, like video game based and have a lot of cool special effects. And they're USC guys. So, but what they found was they were doing all of this stuff, all of these videos. They were getting millions, hundreds of millions of views on their channel. And then when it was time to actually go and get a movie pitched, nobody cared because it was YouTube and it was free content. And YouTube does also have a stigma on it because, there's some sketchy shit on YouTube that's gotten like 1 million views and what have you. Logan Paul.
You mean because he pays for it or he's doing sketchy stuff?
Oh, Logan Paul did that one video where like he went out into the suicide forest in Tokyo and recorded like a dead body he found, and it got like 1 million views. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh god.
Yeah. And what, yeah, not to bring the conversation down, but side
No.
tangent.
But see, did he do something that's technically illegal? Is that illegal? It's not, right?
I don't know what the laws would be in Japan, honestly.
Oh, it was in Japan, right?
Yeah. But that's not the guy I'm talking about. The other guy, Rocket Jump guy, he
Right.
like, yeah, he was, he had all these visual effects, these proof of concepts, and nobody who was financing features wanted to talk to them. And he said, actually, they did wind up getting a TV series financed by YouTube.
Hmm.
Uh, but then they tried to do a second series for Hulu, and that flopped. And so that didn't, you know, success begets success, failure begets failure. And what he said was, rather than doing all of the YouTube videos, they would have been better served just making a low budget horror movie, making something that would have made its money back. And then they would have shown like, hey, we can return on investment for something that is, pay to view content rather than free content. But I've actually been struggling with that. I don't remember if I told you, but like I got a opportunity to direct several shorts for this company called Tongle. And
Okay.
so I pitched them a bunch of ideas, and they said, yeah, we love these 3 ideas. And those are all 3 larger form ideas that I think would be great down the line. And this company Tongle is paying for me to make a short version of them as
Oh,
basically a proof of concept video.
that's great.
Like, proof of concept videos are great as long as you can get somebody else to make them, or to
Mhm.
pay for them. Um,
Yeah.
and what I made a big mistake getting at it when I graduated film school. I kept thinking about the big projects, your studio features, your what have you. And because that was right after the era of the indie film boom of the 90s, and companies were still around that would give breaks to like kids straight out of film school had a really great short film.
Mm.
But what I've found a lot more, especially in the age of YouTube and podcasts, is think of like a version of your idea that could be done as what I call like a phase 1 version, just less organization, less money. And whether it's a short film or a podcast or a written version, like a book or novel. Um, in fact, I was at Comic-Con several years ago, and I was talking with this guy, and he had a really cool graphic novel that I wanted to option.
Mhm.
But because of, financing and sci-fi budgets, I asked him, like, is there a version of this movie that can take place entirely in one room? And he was like, yes, there's actually a character in an orbiting satellite that is monitoring everything, and we could track the whole thing from his perspective there.
Mm.
And so that's a way to basically bring down your scope, bring down your costs, and actually get your vision made, even if it's a slightly skewed vision. And if it's profitable, then you can make the large $5 million, $10 million version later. So,
Hmm. Yeah, I had a friend who he did this film called Mass, where it was like 4 people in a room. It's out now, but it went to Sundance and had like star names in it and stuff. But it's pretty much like 2 couples together who had kids who went to high school together, and one of the parents' kids was a guy who shot up the whole school, and the other person's kid was one who
wow.
died. Was one of the kids who died, and they asked to meet to some kind of closure, some kind of
I think I
resolution.
saw a trailer for that. That was that the Christian film you mentioned?
No, no, this is called Mass. Different.
Okay.
This one's out, I believe, already, but I watched it. It was very intense, but the whole thing is just literally one conversation. It looks like one big take, but of course they did multiple takes. But and they shot it over a few weeks of stuff. But yeah, like they didn't show any flashbacks. No, it was all set in the room, just them talking and their emotions,
Mhm.
and it's just incredible. Like that could be done on such a low budget. Like it could be done for nothing. I know the budget for that was high because they had like locations and star names and whatever. But for a super indie filmmaker, you could shoot that for, I don't know, just paying the bare minimum. I don't know, like a few $1,000s. I don't know. So yeah, like stuff like that. It's cool, and it's almost like if you're restrained with budget and time, whatever constraints you have, it just means that you have to, exercise. It just means that you have to be more creative, like to just find a creative solution around those restrictions. And so sometimes you come out with something better just because you have to find a way to work around those things. Like even people who use their iPhones and stuff, like I guess the restriction was money, but also maybe it was a stylistic thing. It was like, hey, like no one's done this before. Like maybe we should break this mold and do it. But yeah, it's interesting. It's like you want a film that is different, like it's still marketable and it's within a genre and it's recognizable and fits in the marketplace, but also it has a difference about it. So it's always tricky to find that balance. Yeah, I don't know. It's fascinating.
I think that's why a lot of horror movies, like they do really well low budget, because with a horror movie, you can take a dark movie with very little light and make that work to your advantage. You can't do that with a costume drama. You can't do that with, and in fact, that's where German expressionism really came from. The reason they have those kind of noir lighting and all that, like shafts of light, is because those German filmmakers could only afford one fucking light. And so they had to aim it just carefully.
Yeah. Restrictions.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing. You have to learn to work with it. But no, I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, the next step with producing for me would be to work with somebody, or if I found a script, to try to raise the money. I know, like, there was this one guy who, what was I gonna say? Who helps to fund really low budget films. But even that company Bondit. Do you remember Bondit? And they funded.
Oh, they funded the Alec Baldwin shooting movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I think they went bust, right? Or are they still going?
I don't know, actually. I'm gonna look that up.
It would be so sad if it went bust. If they went bust because of that, because it's like, that I remember me and my friend Tom, we had a meeting with that company at one point, Bondit, and it was a little like you pay money, to get these services where they pitch to their financiers and whatever. So you kind of pay to play kind of thing. Whatever happened with that film? I guess it just never got made, right? It just got
the film just got scrapped, but I don't see any notice in Variety about them going out of business. So I don't know.
I'll have to ask my friend Tom.
Now, you're credited as a producer on this movie, The Crossroads. How did you get involved in that?
2 years ago. So I got involved because I posted in a bunch of screenwriting forums like, hey, looking for a feature film with mid-20 lead. Here's my website. If there's anything that you think could fit, please send it through. And that's how I got a bunch of scripts which I was reading through. And one guy got back to me saying, hey, this might be a weird thing, but I think you're perfect to be the lead in my film. Would you like to read it? And so I read it, and we had a Zoom meeting, and he's like, I'd like to offer you the part. And I was like, okay. He's like, you can audition if you want, but you don't have to. And I was like, okay. Well, then I won't. I was like, I don't want to audition. Like, you don't have to audition. And that was one of the best experiences of my life. And it just happened so easily. And everything they said they would do happened. Like, for example, they were like, okay, it's going to shoot in, March or April last year. And it did. They hadn't cast the other actor until like pretty much 1 or 2 weeks before the shoot. And I was like, is this thing even happening? Because you guys don't even have another actor yet. So I was like, whatever. Like, I wasn't holding my breath, because shit falls apart all the time. Is this thing even real? But we did. They cast a guy called Nick week before. Poor guy, because he had not much time to learn the whole thing. But and then we flew out, and it was so freaking fun. It's still in post-production. We did a screening for it maybe a month ago in Arizona. So it was cool. They flew us out there. And producing wise, yeah, he gave me a credit. I guess I was involved from the get-go in terms of, being attached a few months before. And then Doug and all the crew guys had been, crew people for years. So I had his whole team. So that's how I got involved with that. I did some of the music for it. So he gave me that credit, I believe. But yeah, even Nick's like, wait, are you a producer on this? And I'm like, I mean, technically I am, but oh my God. So one thing that happened on set with that is the COVID officer, who was new, and COVID was new in general. So she was pretty new, but it was her first job. She was a little like, I guess she was into horses. So we had a day of training for the horses before the shoot, and she came to set, and we'd all been tested and whatever. And then she was, kind of bugging us and wanted to oversee us being trained by these professional horse trainers. And she was being kind of nosy, whatever. And then halfway through the day, tells us her result came up positive for COVID. Like while we were all there together. But she didn't even have to be there that day. She just wanted to come and be part of it. And so
So your COVID officer got COVID.
Yes.
On the
Yes. It was just so fucking bizarre. And obviously everybody was really stressed, and everything, we postponed shooting for like a week. So I was already there, just had more time to learn my lines, and they went sightseeing or whatever. But it turned out her result was a false positive because she got tested again. But yeah, she got fired, obviously, and we got a new person, but that cost the production probably, tens of thousands of dollars at least, because for our hotel fees, the location, I think like luckily they had a week, like I think they had a wedding or something that weekend. We were, or sometimes on the days we weren't shooting, they had weddings, this ranch. So there's that, and then we had to, they had to push having the location a week. And it was a working farm, so they would like, planting and doing stuff. And so they had to kind of, readjust everything. So anyway, as a producer, I didn't have to handle any of that. Luckily, I mean, as not being one of the producers, I didn't have, but yeah, everybody was really angry. And can you imagine if that was on your set? You'd be so fucking angry, huh?
Yeah.
You'd be like, this fucking shit. Because the whole thing could fall apart. Like everything, like they might not have enough money. The location might not be able to be there. It was just like a potential disaster. And this was just when COVID had happened too. No, actually, it was a year after COVID, but it was still really, like, I don't think vaccinations were out yet or something. I don't know. It was still pretty fresh.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't vaccinated at that point. Like, no one was vaccinated. So, yes, and then with that film, Dark Haven, that's another film I'm kind of attached as a producer with. So, Jim Vines, I had the script. This is how I got into producing.
Right.
I did quote marks, by the way, producing. Was to Jim. So he was like, hey, I've got this film, Dark Haven. I think it'd be great to star in it, blah, blah, blah. He's like, see if you can get it made. And I was like, okay. So that's the whole thing. If I had the script in my pocket, when I met with filmmakers, I talked to them about it. And then when COVID started, my friend Pradeep said, hey, what's that film you were telling me about, Dark Haven? Like, I think it could be my first good feature, because it's COVID friendly. It's only one location, 2 actors. So he reread it. It was horror. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to do it. So we ended up shooting it 2 years ago now, pretty much exactly 2 years ago, because I had my birthday while I was on set. I remember, wow, that was 2 years ago. That was so cool. Wow, time flies so much. But anyway, so that still isn't out yet, by the way. So it just takes a long time. But he was like, yeah, he'll give me an associate producer credit. I'm like, get better, because I gave you the script, but I didn't do any did help with little things like tasks, or he's like, oh yeah, do you have any PR people or things like that? I'm not going to even say it was low budget, because I think the budget's gone up since the VFX. He was saying the VFX, he said grand or something, but it's meant to look like a lot more, as it all is meant to be. It was a small crew, like 6-7 people, and we also shot an Indian and a American version. So there was an actress.
India as in Daisy, right? Or
India as in like Bollywood, like
right. Okay.
Like, we had two actresses. There was me and this Indian actress who spoke Hindi, and there was the lead actor, the lead male actor, Arak, who could speak both Hindi and English. So he pretty much, me and this girl were tag team. So anyways, that's my other kind of lead in the feature and how I got that. Didn't have to audition for it. He was like, cool, yeah, obviously you're in it. Let's do it. So yeah, I think as an actor, I'm always looking for those moments of the stars just aligned, because they pretty self-funded it. And Julianne, the writer of the Crossroads, self-funded it too. So things like that are awesome. Like when the stars align, it happens. And then when I actually started trying to produce, going, fuck, this is hard. Like, wish it was as easy as these other two experiences.
Right. Well, cool. Well, I think that's good. I want to ask you one last question. Who are your favorite authors and why? Authors or philosophers, etc.
Oh, goodness. That's a good question. Oh, my God. Okay, so my favorite book, which I keep rereading, is The Alchemist. Have you read that?
I haven't, no.
It's amazing. It's by Paulo Coelho, if I'm saying it right, and it's all about spirituality, following the omens, just trusting, having faith, knowing that, everything's happening for a reason, just to go with the flow, have your dream, your treasure in this film, and just, yeah, you just have to be super present and just know that everything's happening for a reason. And I just keep rereading it because it keeps reapplying to my life where I'm at. Because I think, life is constantly shifting. Like, even something in my life this week, a week ago, was different. And you just have to adapt and to go with the flow and just have stability and friends. And I don't know, just keep on with it. I feel like when I'm in an unstable place or something's unstable in my life, I just keep trying to do the work, show up, and everything will fall into place. I don't know. It can be hard to navigate emotionally sometimes, but that makes sense. When things are always shifting around you, just to keep yourself as a stable center. And if things around you shift, like relationships and jobs, know that you're stable on your own, is what I'm trying to say.
And that is Season 2, Episode 10 of the Producers Lounge podcast. Thank you to my guest, Emily Coupe, for joining us. You can find out more about her by checking out the show notes and visiting our website at greaterandgrander.com. Our intro and outro music today was Julianne, The Night We Met, by Evan Hodges. Our episode still image is by Ricardo Tomasz on Greater and Grander. If you have any questions or suggestions, we'd love to hear from you. Let us know in the episode comments. You can stay up to date by following us on social media at the handle Greater Grander, all one word. Make sure to subscribe wherever fine podcasts are found, and also, if you like what we do, share this podcast with a friend who you think will enjoy it. Join us next week for more cocktails and questions, and until then, keep producing dreams.